habits. And so these are 3 things that you can start implementing when you really want to stay on track and not fall off right away, because that's pretty common when you get into a regular fitness routine or nutritional routine, that you get started and then it lasts a couple of weeks maybe at best before you go back to old habits. So these are things that you can do to make sure that it sticks long term.
Absolutely, guys. So you always know consistency is key. So here's a couple ways that you can start working on building up that level of consistency time after time again.
Yep, guys. So number 1, the very first tip for how you can start being more consistent when you're just getting started to living a healthier lifestyle is to pick a comfortable pace for you. Okay? You see this oftentimes with like New Year's resolutions, where people will just go all in. They're diving head first into this new healthier lifestyle, and they're really not ready to keep up and maintain that pace. And it's okay, guys. You don't have to jump in head first. Just sticking one foot in the water is still so much better than what you were doing before. So it's okay to take baby steps. You do not have to dive in the deep end. Just get your feet wet first and do a pace that works best for you. So you really don't want to commit more than what you're ready for.
Hey, right, absolutely. So when we say that, what that really comes down to is trying to switch up the diet and the exercise and everything else all at once. So the best thing to do is to allow yourself to just start with one of those things. And for the most part, I always tell people during the consultation process, let the exercise kind of be the door opener for you. Let that be the thing that really allows you to get in. Because once you start to push your body in this new way, you're going to get results right off the bat anyway, because it's going to be something new that your body isn't familiar with. So you're going to see some really nice physical changes right off the bat, depending on how hard you're working. And then once your body is getting kind of adapted to that, it's going to start to naturally itself call for you to start to kind of correct certain areas to help help correlate with what you're trying to do physically in the gym with exerting your body. So allowing yourself to take those baby steps, as we initially said, to start this is going to be critical and is very important and vital to the future of your success.
Yep, guys, it's really just a domino effect. Forming better habits is just making one good decision after another. And that leads us into tip number 2, which is going to be allow room for imperfections. We always say here it's about progress, not perfection. And that is so very true, guys. I know so many people are like dead set on doing things 100% right, and realistically that's just not going to happen. At some point you're going to fall short of your own expectations or standards that you have for yourself, and that's okay. The main thing is you don't let that ruin everything, okay? So allow room for imperfections means that you give yourself room for air for cheat meals and for missed workout sessions. So let's say that you have a plan that you want to work out 5 days a week. Well, if you only make it 3 times that week, it's okay, guys. You still made it 3 times that week into the gym. You can hit 5 the next week. I think a lot of people oftentimes they have this mentality where they're like, oh, well, I didn't get into the gym today, I'm just done. And then they just quit. And you know, when you say it out loud, that sounds so silly, right? But we do that far too often, and we especially do that when it comes to our eating, where, you know, we might have something that we think that we shouldn't eat or that we're not proud of, and so we're just like, oh, the whole day's ruined. I ate that chocolate earlier, so I'm just, you know, I'm gonna have pizza tonight. It doesn't matter anymore. Guys, it doesn't really work like that. Notice we say cheat meals, not cheat days. You know, because those can lead into cheat weekends to cheat weeks, and then you have fallen off track. So guys, it's okay. If you make a mistake, or if you even plan for those things, which is very effective, you know, if you're someone who's not, you know, an all or nothing type of personality, it's probably gonna work best for you to plan on certain days where you have rest periods or you have cheat days, because it's something for you to look forward to, and it's something where you know that you can let your guard down. And that may work best for your personality. So you need to kind of pencil that in your schedule and into your workout and nutritional plan.
Whew, yeah, this is a big one here. Really allowing yourself to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. And also, this pretty much too is about setting kind of small goals and not having things that are too drastic and too hard for you to measure up to, especially earlier on in the process. And what she said there was a really big one that we see in the gym as far as the cheat meal goes, where there's numerous occasions, and I'm pretty sure a couple of you guys who we done work with are gonna see this video and know that, hey, he's probably talking about me. And yeah, I am, because I'm just going off the experience that we have in the industry. But that is a big one, that someone starts this new fitness journey. They have, most times it's at work when they're having lunch with coworkers. They go out to a restaurant at a sit-down setting, and they have something that doesn't correlate or doesn't line up with what they're trying to do now. So they feel like everything else for that day, sometimes even for that week, it's just a carryover, and now every decision after that is just a careless one. And they don't think that just because they had one thing that isn't something that they're happy about. It's not even that it's a bad thing to have for the most part. Yeah, it's something that we want to stay away from now, but you feel so bad about it because you know what you're trying to do and the discipline you're trying to have for yourself, that it pretty much just trickles down through everything else from there. And you guys get so down on yourselves that you just start to make more and more bad decisions. And then that one bad decision that you did make now seems a lot more worse than what it really was, because you compiled so many other bad decisions on top of it. Whereas, yeah, you probably put on an extra pound after you just lost 3. Well, now that extra pound you probably put on from that one meal, it's probably turned into 3 or 4 or 5 pounds now, because you put 4 or 5 other bad decisions on top of that one. And your exercise and everything else that you were doing on top of it, all of it came to a screeching halt. So when we say allow yourselves to be able to do that, understand that just one bad thing doesn't mean that everything else after that
doesn't make you a failure.
Yeah, it doesn't make you a failure, and it doesn't mean that everything else for that day has to go to shit. Excuse my language. We just call it what it is. If you are in a position, we're keeping it about the food right now because that's the biggest one that we see. So let's say if you go out with those coworkers, or you go to a family function and there's some things there that you aren't trying to have right now, but you indulge a little bit, just understand that your workout later that day or the next day, or you can back that up with having a little extra water behind it, because it can kind of flush out some of those higher sodium levels that is going to be in a lot of those foods that you're trying to stay away from right now. So getting a little extra water that day and behind that meal is critical. And then also just hauling to the gym and busting your ass the next day to really try to make up for it, not making another bad decision and another bad decision and another bad decision.
Or,
just try to work a little harder afterwards.
Better decisions, if you ate just a surplus of calories for lunch at this barbecue or whatever that you're at, then maybe you just eat a light salad or something for dinner. Maybe you're not going to have as heavy of a meal as what you would typically do or you plan for, because you already ate all your calories earlier. So you're going to go on a little bit on the lighter end. Just use common sense, guys, and know that everything's not going to be perfect. I cannot help but think of this analogy, because Nate and I were and are both athletes. And I was kind of a hothead when I played sports, and I was notorious for, if I made a mistake, I played tennis. So, if I made a mistake on the tennis court and I, hit the ball into the net, or I hit it too far out of line, then that just messed me up mentally. And then it would show, right? Your opponent sees that you're frustrated, and they start getting ahead and using that to their advantage, because they can see that you're flustered. They can see that you didn't let that 1 point go, or that one bad, mistake go. And that's the same thing here, guys. I mean, Coach Hannon, if you're seeing this, I'm sure you'll get a kick out of this. But I definitely remember my coach in high school telling me, Larissa, let it go. Let that last play go. The game is still going on. Finish. Play it out. Let that last one go and finish strong. And I so vividly remember him telling me this on a regular basis. And this is the same with what we're telling you now. Guys, if you make a mistake, whether it's with your eating, your exercise, your sleep schedule, your stress levels, whatever it may be, let it go. You have the rest of the day, the rest of the week, the rest of your life to make up for it. It's okay. So just let it go, and don't let that one bad decision ruin everything else.
Right, and also number two is a big one here. Allow yourself to still live life. Life has to go on. You can't be perfect at everything, and you still want to be able to enjoy yourselves. Too much, too often, people speak about a healthy lifestyle as if it's no fun, as if it's all just being uptight and unhappy and boring and so on, and that's just not the case. You guys can still have fun. It's just all about having some discipline and some control, and that's something that you need in all aspects of your life. So now when we're talking about discipline and control in the health area of your life, there's no need to look at it as being boring. It's actually a need to look at it as being very fun, because you're giving years and time back to yourself overall, and it just feels a lot better once you get there. So just escape that mindset, set those small and minor goals, allow yourself to see earlier successes sooner, so that you're not working too hard, seeing more failures than you are success, because there's going to be a lot of failures. We like to also say here that it's a marathon and not a sprint. So when you understand that, and that it's going to be a timely process, then you can understand that all of those different things that's going to go into it is going to allow for a great, great story all in the end. So just because you had one bad decision, we all do. Like, I'm still in the middle of a weight loss journey. I've been telling you guys about it for a while, and it's always going to be an up and down process, and you just got to keep setting those small goals for yourself so that you can keep seeing those successes and stay motivated throughout the process.
And I think it's important, guys, Nate kind of touched base on this. Living a healthier lifestyle is a lifelong goal. It's a lifestyle. There is no end point. So this isn't just a 6-week program, guys, although I do think that those can be incredibly beneficial to jumpstart your journey. We have our own 6-week programs that can help get you to where you need to be, but this is forever, and that's the way that you got to look at it. So to think that you're going to be perfect forever is just, it's not going to happen. It's unrealistic. You're going to make mistakes. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to slip up, and that's fine. Now, if you have that 6-week mindset of, well, I got to be perfect, and yeah, you could maybe, be relatively on point for 6 weeks, but this isn't that, guys. This is long-term thinking. This isn't just, I'm going to do this for a set period of time, and then I'm going to go back to what I was doing prior. This is a lifestyle change. And because of that, that kind of gets us to number 3. Because it is a lifestyle change, because you are going to be doing this long term, you really need to incorporate things that you love into this new, healthier lifestyle. Because if you don't enjoy it, or if you don't enjoy the majority of it, you're not going to do it. It's not going to be sustainable for long. So you need to find things that you do, whether that's intentional movement and exercise, that you enjoy doing. Now, you may not enjoy every part of exercise. I, for instance, don't really like cardio these days, but I know it's beneficial for me, so I do different forms of it. I make it look different. That's more appealing to me, instead of just going out on a long run. Or, Nate has me running sprints and stuff now, and I don't really enjoy those, but I know they're shorter lived, so I can wrap my brain around that. I enjoy heavy lifting, so that is what a bulk of my routine looks like. Even though I do get some of those cardio aspects in, I still have a huge majority of what I really love to do. And maybe you love to cycle, or maybe you love to go on walks. I love going on walks. If you can incorporate those on a daily basis, in addition to the other stuff that are going to help you get to where you need to be and help you reach your goals, then you're more likely to do it long term, because you're finding joy out of what you're doing. Same thing goes for your food, guys. If you're just like plugging your nose and taking a shot of some juice or whatever that you think is gonna make all the difference in the world, you're not gonna maintain it very long, because you don't like it. You don't like the taste. And now I'll say this, a lot of people say, well, I don't like veggies, I don't like water, I don't like fruit. There's something wrong there if you don't like anything. That's typically because your body is accustomed to the standard American diet. You need to detox because your palate has changed and it craves sugar. We can help you fix that if that is you. But if you like the majority of fruits and vegetables, but you say, hey, you know what, I really don't like beets. That's fine, guys. Don't eat beets. Eat the things that you love. all right? Or, you know, if you really like tacos, like who doesn't love tacos? You can make healthier versions of your tacos, of these favorite foods that you have at home. You don't have to go to Taco Bell. That's not even a real taco. That's the best example I can give you right now. But you don't have to go to Taco Bell
People
to
love
get
Taco Bell. It's probably the #1 Mexican restaurant.
yeah, which is
in
insane.
America.
We're not gonna even talk about that. That's a whole other conversation. But
Insanity.
you don't have to go to Taco Bell to get these different foods. You can recreate those flavors, the look, the taste, and you can use much healthier options that are going to be beneficial to your goals and what you're trying to accomplish by recreating those things at home. So incorporating things that you love, guys, is huge.
Right, absolutely. And that's one of the things I like to do also earlier in the process of training a new client. If not already from the start that they know, but after a few sessions, maybe a month, maybe 2 months, I kind of always like to go back and ask them, what are some movements you like? What are some areas you enjoy training? So we can always kind of incorporate that in the circuit some way, somehow, depending on how often I see them. If I'm seeing them once a week, we're gonna kind of focus on hitting that movement in every circuit we do, so it can kind of stay fresh and, you know, enthusiastic for them. If I'm seeing them multiple times throughout the week, then I'm definitely gonna get it in one of those days throughout one of those workouts, just depending on the volume of how often I get to see that client. But definitely like to incorporate that in. And it doesn't mean that it always have to be the same boring exercise. Like if you like to do, for me, example, I like to do barbell back squats. So I always try to do some form of squats throughout the workouts that I do throughout the week. Like if I'm doing, I always normally do full body workouts. Now I kind of stage it where I focus on one area for a few sets and then I move over to the next. Whereas normally I used to do a full body circuit, one move after the next, no matter what. I just didn't stay with that one group for multiple sets. I just went through the full circuit, 5 movements, and I repeated it for 5 to 6 rounds, just depending. But I just try to always incorporate some form of squats. Now with my clients, I try to give them a little bit more variety so it feels fresh. So maybe it'll be a squat mixed with a set of box jumps to superset it with, or it's a squat mixed in with a lunge, making it a compound movement. But just letting them do something that they really like to do and enjoy doing, so it doesn't always feel like something that is so redundant.
Or work. It shouldn't just always feel like work. You should get some satisfaction in doing it.
Yeah, because what exercise is, for the most part, when you're in the gym, is pretty much like going to a playground as a kid. Now, kids, that's workout for them. They're doing a lot of the movements and the fundamental movements that we do in the gym. We just got to be a little bit more precise because we're not as limber anymore, right? We can't afford to hurt ourselves or so on. We just don't repair the same as we get older. But that's pretty much what it is. Jungle gyms and all that, it's pull-up bar, working on those upper body and back muscles, shoulder muscles, so on and so on. All the other things that go into it. So it's a big playground just for adults, and we want to try to make it fun and just, you know, enthusiastic, like I said, in that kind of way. So adding in things that you enjoy in the gym, very important. Same thing with the food. There are a lot of healthy alternatives out there that you can have. And when it comes to having those healthier alternatives, understand, like we said, it's going to be a process. It's a lifestyle change. So when your taste buds adapt after you start, like I said earlier, with the exercise, it can kind of be one thing you can control, and that's one thing you don't have to worry about missing. Every day, some way, somehow, you can be physically active. Whereas sometimes it's not always convenient for us to have a healthier meal, especially when we don't necessarily know what that is earlier on. We know how to get out and walk and get some steps, do some type of circuit, so on and so on. So just adding in healthier things, after a while your taste buds will adapt, and those things will become a lot more appealing and satisfying for you over time. So definitely put in things that you enjoy to do just to make that process feel a lot funner. And then once it becomes something that is just a habit for you, you ain't got to worry about that no more. It'll just be routine.
Absolutely, guys. So there you have it. Pretty straightforward today. Let us know what you guys think about these 3 tips. Have you incorporated them into your routine? Do you find these things helpful? Let us know. Give us some feedback. Of course, show us some love. But there you go. We're going to recap very quickly here the 3 tips to help you stay consistent with your diet and exercise routine when you're first getting started. Number 1, you need to pick a comfortable pace That means do not commit more than what you're ready for at the beginning. Number 2, allow room for imperfection. So that may mean missing workouts, having rest days, or cheat meals. Number 3 is incorporating things you love, which means doing movements that you enjoy, whether that's going on a bike ride or a walk, or recreating some of your foods that you really love and enjoy, and just giving a healthier version of that food that you can make at home. So,
yep, there it is. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. It don't get no better than that, guys. Again, what this kind of comes down to is exactly what our business name is. It's never settling. Training with a purpose. Doing all these things with a purpose, and understanding that just because you do something doesn't mean that there has to be a time for you to pretty much settle. So just because you do one thing you're not proud of, that doesn't give you the luxury of settling. Just pick that ball back up, get to dribbling, and get right back to it. So understand, it's a timely process, guys. We're all gonna make mistakes in all aspects of life. Don't expect to be perfect here, especially when it's something that you're new to. This is probably gonna be one of the hardest things that you try to do, because I know I'm about 7 years now into really focusing on health, and I'm learning new things every day, especially every year. Methods are changing. So again, guys, it's just always gonna be something new to learn. So don't get hung up on things.
Yep, guys. Absolutely. We love you guys. Remember, join us here live every single Tuesday at 2:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for your weekly dose of Trainer Talk Tuesday. And as always, guys, never give up.
Never lose hope.
Never settle.
All right, guys.
We'll
have a good one.
See you next week.